We're Team 11 from Product Studio at Cornell Tech, and today we're presenting LoopMind. Yeah.
So the market reality for the supply chain industry is that there's three major problems. The first one is empty miles problem, which means that basically whenever a truck is unloaded and it has delivered stuff that it has to, it's going back to the warehouse, and when it's going back to the warehouse, it's wasting fuel, it's wasting logistics, and while doing that, they're not getting paid, which means that they're just wasting those truckers that are going back. They're wasting money for the company, and so this basically accounts for 25% of all the miles that truckers go through, and it all basically means that it just does not generate any revenue, fuel, or labor. This is basically a significant inefficiency, and it also is a burden on operational costs, and it leaves an environmental footprint. And when you look at mid-sized fleets or small fleets, there is literally no optimization. If we look through the industry, there's many telemetry sources, such as Oracle uses its own telemetry program, but it only tracks trucks throughout the country, but it does not do anything else. So these tools, which are used in the industry right now, aren't like capable of multi-stop or like doing cross-shipment routing. The third problem is that there's a data action gap, which means that these telemetric tools can give you the location, but they cannot do anything more than that. But what we want to do is that we want to bring in AI-driven optimization, so we can basically give them the best route. The reason being, the data action gap that this generates, basically in dispatching and communicating with the warehouse, creates inefficiency and hinders the ability to maximize profitability. Next slide, please. Our optimization for this thing is called LoopMind. LoopMind is an AI-driven platform which we designed to transform one-way deliveries into dynamic multi-stop loops. We offer mobile navigation, optimization apps for individual trucking, mid-size fleets, and small-size fleets. We basically reassign shipments and reroute trucks in real time to minimize idle trips and fuel waste, so that we can ensure that trucks are always optimally loaded. Our focus is on our key customers, which are small businesses and small fleets, and mid-sized carriers, which would have 5 or 10 trucks. They already use GPS tracking, but they don't have the optimization that we provide. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so to talk about our differentiators, one of the big ones is that again that we do optimization. And so a lot of the existing platforms, as Pernjay sort of mentioned, either you have optimization for really, really large players like Oracle Transportation Management, or you have a lot of these smaller players, like a lot of the platforms that are geared towards smaller businesses, with say like 5 to maybe 20 trucks. A lot of them only offer like visibility, and a lot of these transportation management systems don't really have like a good optimization tool that responds in real time. And so this is really one big differentiator that we have. The second differentiator that we plan to incorporate is predictive learning. And so this would basically take a look at the traffic, take a look at sort of all the events that are happening, sort of as this in real time, sort of as the trucks are actually moving on the ground, and sort of reroute trucks intelligently. And then finally, we also have both a dashboard and a mobile app that we would actually give to drivers. And so again, in a lot of the offerings that are given to smaller players, it's usually one or the other. So again, there for a dashboard, there isn't really usually a companion app or something that's really easy for like a fleet manager to sort of monitor and log where the trucks are going. And so again, to explore the technological feasibility, our system is really feasible because it uses a lot of existing tools. Like for instance, to sort of deploy this, we would first of all use like AWS or Azure, and then there are also a lot of freely available APIs. And then to actually perform the optimization, we would sort of build on top of existing tools like Google OR tools. And then we could also use XGBoost for instance, for tabular learning to do the prediction aspect. And then we also plan to explore using PyTorch for some deep learning. But yeah, and then finally, we also use existing mature scalable data pipelines. And so these would be using tools like ingestion tools that already exist. Yeah, we identified some risks that we want to focus on. And the first one is price sensitivity. And so again, we really have to be proving that we're actually saving the customer more money than if they used another tool. And so to sort of gauge what price to charge our customers, we first did a sweep of the available offerings that are on the market. And we found out that charging around $30 to $120 per fleet is a little bit too much. And that's sort of what the industry has gravitated towards. And so we sort of decided to charge a bit less than that and to sort of double check that. We plan on doing A/B membership preference testing, and then finally also talking to a lot of fleet managers on the ground to see whether or not they feel this is fair. And then finally, we also will offer a free month trial or only charge if your empty miles actually drop by a certain threshold. And this is sort of to get our initial customers and to establish trust among them. But yeah.
So the risk is slow customer adoption. The fleet manager might be slow to try to new tools because they use their old system and worry about the training or workflow changes. To handle this, we will demo our prototype about 8 to 10 regional managers and guide them through the basic workflow and collect feedback and set up on time and learn curve. Our goal is to keep onboarding under 1 week if more than 60% of the managers say they will willing to try the system. Once they see the saving, we'll know the adoption is on track. So for the history, the technical performance, yes, GUI for LoopMine, and there will be a manager console and a driver app model. So the app on the driver mobile app will be like this. Start navigation. And the manager GUI will be like having a fleet overview, like how many tracks and delays and routing total saving, and there will be with all those activity log and the live fleets. There will be all of the status. Some will be delayed, some will be on time and early. It can show us how many times save. And this is a fleet map, like kind of simulate, but it doesn't really have the function. James will be demo this part later. So for simple simulation will be look like this. Kind of uh, planning all of the routes here based on the destination, and it can shows us how many costs we reduce and as an estimate based on the fuel, the time we save. And here will be have a dashboard showing all of this, like carbon dioxide save and all those things. Yeah, I think that's basically this. This is basically the GUI for the loop mine. Oh, also, here will be a pricing here. We will have a per truck $30 truck a month, and for enterprise customer, also a saving base 0. It will charge you based on how many empty miles you use.
Okay, really quickly, just to circle back to the live demo, if you could stop sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I got it working. I think it was just using a stale key. And so if I could just share my screen. So yeah, again, let's say we have like 3 or 4 trucks, right? And then we have a depot set, and then we also add like a whole bunch of locations requiring service. And then we press optimize fleet. And then in theory, the system again is a little bit slow since we're still currently working on it. And this is like a very, very extremely preliminary demo. But eventually you can see that like the user would be greeted by a screen like this, showing the sort of naive routing, for instance, and then finally an optimized routing. And then there would be savings in both time and fuel costs, I guess. And so, yeah, that's sort of what we've built so far. We plan to incorporate this sort of, this is like the functional aspect. The part that Singtai presented was more of the UI side. And so ideally we'd be integrating both this side and then his as well. But yeah, I guess that's all we had from DeepMind. But yeah.
Awesome. Amazing job, guys. Did you have fun like building this, I guess?
Yeah, I think it was a big challenge, I think, in coordinating everything. And I think it also took a lot of research. But I think the building aspect was really the funnest part for us. We really liked, I guess, designing these UIs, sort of seeing how it would actually look. But there was a lot of, I guess, lead up in the class that we had to do, which was not the most pleasant. But again, building it was very enjoyable for us.
Cool. And then I guess you mentioned this a little bit when we were in person, but if there are like next steps with this, what do you think would be like the next stuff you would want to work on?
Yeah, so the first thing we would do is really, again, flesh out our demos a little bit more before bringing it to sort of potential customers. But I think also, this is something that was mentioned during our meeting. We're also exploring different types of customers. And so, for instance, I know that like Anote works with like the government a lot, for instance, and like that could be a potential thing that we look into in the future. But yeah, I think just looking at really firming down exactly who our buyers would be, because we've talked with a couple of small business like fleet manager CEOs, but like a lot of the CEOs, some that we talk to only have like around like 1 to 5 trucks, for instance. So we actually sort of want to see if there's a market in the larger space for larger players, if they would be interested in a product like this.